Welcome. So, yesterday on October 1st, Dynacons Systems and Solutions, an IT infrastructure company, their shares rose by 20%. Yes, 20%. If you look at the price action, okay, look at the price action for, let's say, 6 months. 6 months ago, what do we see? We see that on around 20th of May, the May section, okay, 20 May, the price was around 1,179. We go even by. Okay, even further back, we see 2025 January at the start of the year, the price was at 1500, 1400, and then it slowly declined, eventually reaching a low of 839 rupees in September 29, but then rebounded by 20%, more than 20%. Yes, 20% rebound. Now, what does this tell us? Okay, there is a very basic pattern. Okay, very important pattern you can see. So there is this thing known as in technical analysis that I've learned over my years of technical analysis, that when you see this massive decline, right? Yes, you see this massive decline and followed by this rise, and this decline has been going on for so many months. This tells me very clearly, okay, this pattern tells me very clearly that I know nothing about how the price is going to go in the future. I know nothing about this company. So I can't predict anything about this company's price. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I know nothing about where the price is going to go. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the company itself, Dynacons Systems and Solutions, a very short analysis. Okay. So 1,287 crore company, current price of one share is 1,011 rupees. Book value, assets minus liabilities, book value per share 181 rupees. The price to earnings ratio of the stock is 17.3. The price to earnings ratio. Then the ROCE, you can see the return on capital employed is a really high 39.2%. Return on equity, really high 37%. So really nice return on capital employed and return on equity figures. Then looking at the profit and loss of this company from 2014 all the way to 2025. Here we have sales. Here we have operating profit. Then we have operating profit margin. Notice OPM only 4%. Now, that seems very small for an IT company. We will get into it just now. Just now, we'll just take a look at the financials. Then we will take a look into why its operating profit margins are so low, which will give us insight into what the company may be actually doing. All right, more clarity on what the company is actually doing. So, in 2014, we have sales of 77 crores. In 2018, we have sales of 211 crores. Operating profit margin only 3%, or around 3%. 2022, sales reach massive 654 crores. Operating profit margin have improved to almost 5% and 31 crores of operating profit. We move all the way to 2025. We have 1,267 crores worth of sales and almost 8% operating profit margin. And this figure is almost rising to 9. And the company wants to have its operating profit margins reach 10%. So operating profit margins of the company, you can see 4%, then reach 5%, then 7%, 8%, reaching 9%. All right. Looking at these growth numbers from here, you can see compounded sales growth have been 28% over the last 10 years. 28%. 31% compounded sales growth last 5 years. Last 3 years, 25% compounded sales growth. Profit growth, 59% compounded profit growth. Massive. Last 5 years, 64%. Last 3 years, 64% compounded profit growth is massive. Absolutely massive. So, see, compounded profit growth is way more than the sales growth, which shows that profit margins, as you saw earlier, are rising both on the operating level and the net profits. Even on the net level, it's rising. Look at that. This year, I bought the stock and the stock declined 27%. Before that, it was doing phenomenally. So why is the stock falling? Because I invested. So I apologize for that. Then return on equity rising, rising. 10 years ago was 32%, then 36% 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 39%, last year, this year, 37%. But overall, we see that return on equity is rising, and this is the same for return on capital employed. Even return on capital employed is a rising figure through the years. Very, very nice. Now, we discussed all of that. We looked at the financials improving very well improving. We looked at the return on equity, even that is improving. We looked at other things, return on capital employed, improving. The profits are growing exponentially or have grown exponentially. One more thing you want to see, very interesting, interest payments. Interest, the interest they're paying on loans. You compare this to operating profit, and we get the interest coverage ratio. Operating profit divided by interest. This shows us how easily the company can pay back interest. So for 2014, what do we have? 2 crores. Okay. Then 20, let's move to 2020. So 2020, we have operating profit of 15 crores and interest of 8 crores. All right. So interest coverage ratio is not even 2. Very interesting. Then we move to 2022. Interest payments have become 9 crores. Operating profit has improved to 31 crores. So now interest coverage ratio is 3 times, which is better, way better. Then all the way to 2025, we have 105 crores worth of operating profit and 13 crores worth of interest. If we divide 105 by 13, we get a 8 times interest coverage ratio, which is very healthy. So debt seems to be becoming a smaller and smaller issue, making interest payments covering its interest becomes and seems to be becoming a smaller and smaller issue for Dynacons, which is always a good thing. Now, why are these operating profit margins so low? If you go to the company's annual report, this is what they say are their offerings. Okay, what are they offering? They say they're offering a data center and cloud solutions. They're offering managed services, digital workplace solutions, networks and security solutions, smart and safe city solutions, project management, execution, and systems integration. All of these things. But what I'm thinking now, this is what I'm thinking. I've not seen the confirmation, but I'm thinking that let me provide some proof first. The company has said that all of its revenue comes under one segment. Okay, this is part of its revenue, the notes of revenue. So, total revenue, see this line first, the A part. The company is engaged in systems integration, which includes the sales of products and services as a complete solution. So, all these offerings we saw earlier, right? Like the data center and cloud solutions, we saw smart and safe city, all of that. It's compiling all of them into systems integration. So that is what Dynacon said is it actually does. It does system integration. It sells products as well as services as a complete solution. Now, in revenue, you want to see this exports revenue. Then these figures are in lakhs of rupees. So you see, majority of revenue comes from India, and then a very small part comes from exports. All right. Now, systems integration. What is this systems integration? You may wonder. Yes. Now, what is systems integration? Let me tell. So I asked Google AI because I don't know. Systems integration is the process of combining different computing systems, process of combining different software products and physical and virtual components into a single cohesive infrastructure. Let's see what exactly is this. So at its heart, systems integration links up different technologies, whether they are new or legacy hardware or custom software or cloud-based applications to function harmoniously. So we have different softwares, we have different hardwares and different computer systems. They are being integrated or they are being designed such that they can be used as one single system. What this allows is it enables communication, allowing for seamless and often automated flow of information and communication between different systems using different protocols and all that. And it creates value for businesses because primary value The primary benefit is increasing efficiency, improving decision making, and lowering operational costs by eliminating redundant manual tasks. So it helps in increasing efficiency. Now, benefits, benefits, more efficiency, informed decision making, cost reduction. Okay, it streamlines processes, automation of tasks, scalability, scalability, because you are not disrupting existing infrastructure, you are actually integrating new infrastructure with existing infrastructure. I also asked it about Dynacons and what it's doing. So there are some examples that we got. One, in January 2025, it secured a 280 crore contract with Canara Bank, augments its data center infrastructure. So it's what is this? The project involves supplying, implementing, and maintaining 500 servers and other IT infrastructure components over 5 years to improve scalability, security, and performance. So what is Dynacons doing? Its main focus is systems integration. It's combining various kinds of software, hardwares, different things into one single thing, one single project. And the important part here is that systems integration is generally seen as a low margin business. Okay. Now, here we come back here. Low margin business. Look at this. This is an expense. This is an expense on the profit and loss statement for Dynacons. This is the biggest expense by far. There's no other expense as big as this. Purchases of stock in trade, purchases of IT products. This is in lakhs. So, on 1200 crores, 1290 crores of revenue this year, 1000 crores, 1090 crores went in as expense for purchasing IT products. Remember systems integration? For systems integration, Dynacons has to buy a lot of software and a lot of hardware from vendors directly, from companies that made those products directly, and then resell them to the client at a slightly higher price. Now, what do you mean by resell? They are just reselling it to the client so that Dynacons helps use that software and hardware they just bought to integrate into the system. So, like they're setting up a data center, they will need to buy up components for the data center, like tech for the data center from vendors, the companies that actually made. They will buy them, they will design the data center, they will give it to the client, but that cost for software hardware, there will only be a slight markup, slight increase in that price they actually sell the project to the client and all that. So this they're buying all this technology, they're buying all these software products and all that, and that's why it's a low margin business. Why? Because a lot of it is just buying software, buying hardware, and then connecting or setting it up for clients. Which, of course, this also involves expertise. This is complex. This is complex stuff, must be complex stuff. That is why so many clients are hiring Dynacons. We saw earlier, it has experienced so much growth. So, this is complex stuff. It requires expertise, but it is low margin because it has to buy a lot of this stock in trade. Now, if you're wondering what is stock in trade, the word trade, emphasize the word trade. Trading, buying and selling. Trading is buying and selling. They're not manufacturing, so they're buying and selling. They're buying products made by others and they're selling them to the clients, reselling them. In this case, reselling, as I mentioned earlier, is just that they have to buy it and then use it in the project and they sell that project. So, low margin business. Dynacons is a low margin business, but we saw earlier that the company's profit margin is improving. See, this percentage 8% in 2025, okay, 4% 2020, 3% 2018. Operating profit margin and net profit margin are increasing because earlier, remember, we saw all those solutions for Dynacons, its offers, its offers. Many of these offers will be value adding. Many of these services will be value adding. And this is one of the things that Dynacons places emphasis on. Okay. Not only can it provide you cloud solutions, okay, it can provide you managed services, meaning it can manage your IT infrastructure for you. It can make sure your IT infrastructure is working, or your data centers, or your servers and all that. They're working very well. Okay, it can always provide security solutions, digital workplace solutions. Basically, the gist of what I'm saying is that Dynacons says it can do everything for you. You are a software company, you are any company. You want to set up a center, you want to set up a server, you want to migrate to the cloud, not like your own servers, but want to go to the cloud because it's cheaper. Dynacons can do that for you. You want some other IT services, like general IT services, which are more high value, high margin. Dynacons can provide it to you. You want to manage your IT infrastructure. You want some other company to do it. Dynacons can do it for you. Dynacons itself says that it's wants to become like a one-stop solution for its clients. From the setting up of IT infrastructure to managing IT infrastructure and then upselling to the client, selling to the same client more and more high value margin services. I believe that's the reason the operating profit margin of the company is increasing. So earlier, here we see it's executing a lot of um, systems integration. It's still doing system integration, but it's doing a lot of setting up projects. It's buying a lot of software products, setting them up, and giving to the clients at a slightly higher price, slightly higher profit, low profits. And now it's able to sell more and more high value services to the same client. That is my what I'm trying to think. What I'm thinking is that the company is selling more and more high value services to the clients, as well as, of course, trying to improve its own efficiency, trying to manage costs and all that. Of course, that's all there. But that is my main thesis, you can say, or my idea. Yes, my idea, not thesis, maybe. My idea, what I'm thinking is that earlier it still does it. It still does systems integration. Its main thing is systems integration, which is buying a lot of software, designing everything, setting up that all that software to work together, which of course very complex task it seems, and then selling them more and more solutions. The same clients, it can sell more and more high value solutions. Like I guess data analytics, stuff like that, cloud solutions. What else can it sell? What do we see here in smart and safe city solutions? Okay, it did say it sells services. So I guess digital workplace solutions. Yeah, I don't know much about IT, but among these, there will be something that is more services and services only and more high margin. So that's it. That was Dynacons systems and solutions. What are your opinions of the company? Do comment down below. Have a nice day.